Okay, so Happy New Year. It seems so silly because it is, it's their year that they created. I don't know. I don't know, but, I'm going into this feeling super positive. One of the things, so there was a couple things. One thing, my mom gave me this pretty robe for Christmas. And so, anyways, I'm wearing it. And it's so funny too, because it reminds me of this one that I had. It wasn't mine. My friend, back in the 70s, I don't know, girls were always had cameras and they wanted to do like, let's do model shots. I'd always go do model shots all over the place, And then, and this one, I had this pretty robe on of my friends, and I think I'm sitting there holding a pot. I don't know. It kind of looks really Art Deco to me. And this robe reminds me of it so much, which makes me think of this thing I just saw the other day. And it was a study that some science professor or whatever, psychiatrist or whoever, that they did on this group of old men. And so they took a group and then they made a place, like apartments or houses or something, that everything was from their era, from when they were young. And so every single thing, the TVs, everything was like from the 40s or 50s or something for these old guys. And then they monitored, and everything improved on all of the people. Their cognitive, their how they felt. Some even started looking younger, and it was just 1 week. And so, like, the implications, of course, and I had seen where that was also a thing about Alzheimer's, which I've shared about that before too, is if you have somebody who has got some sort of cognitive disorder, for one thing, you got to detox them, get the parasites out. But the other thing is to play music and stuff back from their era, and it helps orient them. I don't know how it works, but it helps orient them and grounds them, and I don't know. For all I know, some of this weird stuff happening is just part of aging, where the world, especially when you're alone, and the world, becomes, you can't, I don't think you can help but hear them talking to you all the time. And unless you're just, always looking for drama or really overworked or something. But so many old people start becoming super religious. I think some become spiritual, but some become so cut off. Like, I just heard some guys saying that it was all the old people in his area were the ones pushing this on everybody. And this was an English guy who was just completely disgusted with the way things are going. He was just like, he was losing all hope. And he's like, man, I can't. We're just going backwards. And so I got to think back, because there was a whole bunch of things I didn't know I was going to be bombarded with, so many all of a sudden at once. Because before, when I was going in, it was like, oh, well, I wasn't really quite sure what I was going to talk about. But what I wanted to, let me just see if I can go back and see if I can remember. God, that was like a bombardment. One of the things, so I'll just go back to last night. Like, for one thing, I keep seeing all these people with the showing the fog, but the people who are showing it seem to be onto that it is a carrier of something. It's either carrying sickness or drugging us or something. There's something going on with it. And oh my God, it was so weird here. It was so fucking eerie. I mean, I haven't seen the sun in so long, and it was so eerie, and the color. And then even in the evening, the sky turned like this rusty red, and just the whole thing, when you looked outside, it looks like the world is becoming sepia or something. It doesn't have the same colors or something. It's really weird. And it's eerie. And so anyways, we've had tons and tons of the fog, And, you know, I've been suspicious about the fog the whole fucking time. I was suspicious about it. And it's just the more and more you learn, the more it's like, oh my Lord. You know, even to know like what they are carrying. Like when I was suspicious about the fog, I sure the hell didn't know about all this shit with the parasites. Like fucking just seeing Gator Boy's smug ass face in that documentary showing about, oh God, that guy makes me, oh God, it is bad. Some of these people will see, we have to see this really sickening side of them, you know, and I think they had to have people come in and play the part, like, to really show how sickening these people are. So, anyways, was like, yesterday was just weird. All day it was just weird. Like all my days have been being super weird. And I'm really disconnected in so many different ways. And the time is so weird. Everything, it just seems weird. And I haven't started my thing. I'm going to do, her things are more like drawings. They are not paintings. I'm not going to paint drawings. So anyways, I'll paint something else on there. But anyways, so it was really weird. And then I don't know, it seemed like I was like busy and stuff. Like I was thinking, man, I don't really feel tired. And then all of a sudden it was just like it hit me. And I was just so tired. And I had turned on this old Christopher Lee movie, this old vampire movie. Because first I watched a really happy, you know, sweet movie. And then I was like, well, I think I'll watch a little scary movie. Because that is one thing, that is what I was going to say, is it's weird, is because a lot of my stuff in the house that I did it like 70s style. So from a time that is familiar to me. And I was thinking, you know, it does, I don't know. I definitely don't feel, like I don't feel old. Like I just don't feel old, you know? And maybe it is because I'm around stuff where I felt young. And so if you surround yourself with things from when you were younger, that it makes you feel young. So it does something in your mind. But I was thinking, I wonder how many people though, like older women or something, that they kind of do their style for something else, like you know, like what's in style, you know, do, you know, that trendy style kind of thing. But then it's like your soul isn't really getting to express itself. And so you're kind of expressing something different. You know, it's kind of like what I was talking about yesterday with the spiritual stuff. And that, you know, I saw this other guy and he was saying, and you know, another thing too, is how many of these young black guys that I see who are so fucking deep spiritual, really deep thinkers. And I think when things switch, go in the other direction, I think people are going to be really surprised who some of the spiritual leaders are that people are going to follow. And I think it's gonna, and I think that's on purpose too, because everything is meant to turn everything upside down. And I think, you know, darker people, especially I think a lot with black people, because I don't know, they've been so culturally attacked too, you know, but like how the Mexican people are even retreating, going back to their people. Like they go back to their people, like they have a strong in their heart somehow, you know, connection. But there is something with the black people that get more, you know, defeated or something by these people, and how they create their division with black and white. I don't know, there's something about it. And I can see so much, but it's hard for me to like put it all into words sometimes. But I think that they're going to go and take more of their role, kind of as they always should have. kind of, because like the first president, I've seen more stuff now about this first president guy. I can't think of his name, but he was black, and he was the one on the $2 bill. And then that's why they discontinued it, because he was at the table. I don't know what the whole situation is on all this stuff. This is just different things I hear people do research on. And so, and just the way that they turned Jesus into not just an idol for people to worship, but then turned him into a white idol when, he would have been Middle Eastern. And so the all of the manipulation they've done so much about this whiteness, and I know it has something to do with their breeding, how they've tried to breed certain things out of us. And even when I hear some of these spiritual people talking, and like I'll hear like some spiritual white guy talking, and there's something different. It's kind of like, like if you see footage of people in a black church and then you see footage of people in a white church, how the black people, how you can see they're like feeling it. Like they're feeling it. Yeah, and sometimes you can see some white people, they're feeling the Holy Spirit, just like, and, getting, but a lot more of them are a lot more reserved and cut off from that. And that is something, I think it has something to do with the mouth. I think that is in the breeding what they were trying to take out. But I think it makes people a little more like stiff. Like, and I don't know how much they really feel of the Spirit, but even if they have a comprehension of it, if you get what I'm saying, because there's something that is, there's something about it to me, about like when I see some of these young black guys, like they feel it, like when they're talking, and then I'll see a white guy and he'll just be talking very, it's just different. I think it's something that they did, like breeding us like animals, like dogs. And it's really sad too. I had just seen this kind of ad thing, and it was like a Trump thing, like it's gonna start hitting harder and harder and harder, pro-Trump, because now it's gonna be like the bigger collapse on so much stuff. And so there had to be a kind of a switch in the numbers. So Joe had to be so horrible, rotten, to turn a lot of people to be open to, the person who they demonized to come in and do anything, or we'd have total civil war. So there was so much going on. But anyways, I just, too many things. I have too many things going at once. Because I hadn't even finished talking about what I was saying a second ago. But on the Trump thing, on the video, oh yeah. So on the video, I was showing all these kids going out and getting on the school bus to go to school. And I don't know, just like this really kind of traditional, happy, and I just thought, man, that is so sad for, the people wanted to become educated. They wanted to learn. They wanted to know more. And then the people in charge took that and manipulated it so hard. And it really hit me as just super sad. But anyways, this black kid, he was talking in his video to like a whole group of people who claim that they have been saved now. They've been reborn. He's like, you guys all keep going around saying you're reborn and you're rebirthed and now you're saved, but none of you seem to really get that there is something more to it than just saying it. Like you got to feel it. It's a different way of living. He said, all you guys go do is like, you're going to go to the gym, you're working on your followers, you're working on getting some money for this, and building up on, on all that stuff. What I had been saying, it's like a misdirection. And, and then you have these spiritual leader guru people out there who are leading them like that. And that is not the spiritual path. Just like what I was trying to say yesterday, it is so much about trusting, trusting like where you're at, what they want you to be doing and thinking about and stuff. And that is where people are just disconnected. They just don't realize like that they have a whole communication going all the time that they're just disregarding. And so and it is so much like going through life to me, because they showed me something earlier that was really cool. It is like it's like you're free falling in life. If you trust in where they tell you and how things are supposed to be, and you just trust in what they say, then it's like you're just like free falling. And so then it is a different experience, because like in an energetic kind of thing, they show me so many things. Like I can see the spiritual stuff, and then I can also see the energetic stuff, and then I don't even know like all the different levels of how I'm seeing stuff. Like it's very much more than what I think most people see. I keep seeing more and more people talking about that too. Like there's a certain group of people, like I don't know. I would think of, to me, I would see us more of like seers, like I can see, and mystics, because we always have known the supernatural was real. The mystical world is real, so we were always able to use it in a different way than other people. And seers, seeing beyond what other people can see. So to me, it has something to do with that. And then healers and stuff, like that's why I think so many are drawn to wanting to be healers and teachers and stuff, is because it is it's a vibration, and it is like what people come to. There's so much, because there's so much just about balance and karma, and there's like so much to all of this different stuff. But it's just a different, a bunch of a certain type of energy coming in to kind of change things up. But I think that it is gonna be where that people are all of a sudden going to look in that direction. I mean, they keep showing me so much about that, even with that kid, and I keep seeing all these different ones, and speaking out, and especially in some of those communities. And I'm sure there's a lot of toxic shit going on. I mean, I've seen some speaking out to people talking about drugs and crime and stuff. So the people, I think, are going to take big roles like in communities. And then it's kind of like the communities, kind of like I said, there it's kind of like everybody's looking out. It's like they're all looking the wrong direction, and these people who are kind of at the corners, like of the triangle, there's so many less of them as a thing. They've shown me that and shown me that and shown me that. And I think that is why so much of it has been like in isolation and stuff, because preparing, because you do have to be, strong when, people just tell you you're crazy and stuff all the time. So you have to build your strength. You can't be weak. And then so much about, during this time, about trusting and the communication. To me, when I see the lack of communication for people, and the misunderstanding about spirituality, like there is not a textbook or a design to spirituality. It is just your own awareness that world exists. And your place in that world is your, your development. It isn't, I don't understand these people. Like, I think them pushing so hard on like you have to be vegan. You have to be vegan. And so then look at what's coming out, like all the stuff with the vegan stuff. And just in that one thing that I had seen, the soybean farmers and how much wildlife they killed just to grow soybeans. So these people think like they're saving the planet. You're killing so much of nature to grow soybeans in mass. It's one thing, whatever your garden you grow for your own food, and it's less waste and it's more healthy. And, and then you can barter and trade with people. Like, there's so much that can develop from that, but people have to start opening their minds to the possibilities of where we can take things, and when we're not controlled like we've been controlled. And so, it's going to open up so much, but there has to be some of us who can see the possibilities before the other ones, so that, that they can see. There's some about the transformation, and but it is going to be like they're all looking in the wrong direction, and then all of a sudden they look, and then they see what they haven't seen before. And it's going to be not just on a public level, it's going to be a lot on private, like, even in a lot of people's own lives, when they are like, I'm just surrounded by all these people who don't get it. And, I'm so crazy in my family. I'm the all that is where it's going to turn, and it's going to be the other direction. All those people that are looking out are suddenly going to turn and be looking towards you. And so then suddenly you're going to be the one who's got all the answers. And, it's like the tides turn, the tables turn. And so it's going to be on so many levels, because it's going to be like micro, macro. And so just depending on, different roles in different parts that we play in how this stuff is all playing out. And so it's so interesting. Oh, and I still haven't even gotten back to the whole thing. So I was on the couch, and my legs, the electric shock things is driving me crazy, and I keep getting it. And I did go outside for a while yesterday, and I cleaned up, I raked, cleaned up all the dog poop and all of that stuff, which I didn't see a lot of worms, but there could have been, because I saw something in there, but I don't know. And but I do so much detoxing on her. But if they're just keep dumping this shit on us, but then if some of it isn't even fucking like a Neobot is not motherfucking coming out and parasite cleanse, and how much of that shit is being dumped on us, like, fuck, oh God, this is what I call the more you know. More you know, you gotta go, oh, fuck. Fucking shit. So anyways, when I laid down, I was kind of trying to stretch my legs out, because they keep having these electric shocks, and my knees keep getting super stiff, and I'm making crackling noises. Like, oh my God, my joints are just, I did a soak this morning with the bentonite clay, Epsom salt, the apple cider vinegar, and baking soda. You do some kind of soak with that. It's supposed to pull all the toxins out. But so I went out there. I was out for a while yesterday, and then it did start acid raining right on me. And I was like, oh, fuck. Well, I just got to just finish what I'm doing and don't stress out about it. And then, so I kept on doing that. And then I came in and whatever. And so I was outside for a while. So I did breathe some in, and then some got on me and absorbed through my skin. Whatever the hell is out there that they're getting us with, that turns the sky orange and red and shit. So, and all the atmosphere with the fog and stuff. And plus the headache, my eyes, oh my God. My eye, I haven't even turned this down even more. This is just killing me. Oh my God, my eyes. And the feeling totally stopped up. So I don't know if the parasite thing is working for mine. No, I mean, it depends on what parasites and stuff you're being dumped on too, which cleanses, like, man. And, I was thinking about even with my neighbors and stuff and them not knowing that, and they have all these, and they have 2 cats and 3 dogs, and the animals carry so much I've seen, like, man, if you have pets and you're not doing those cleanses, you are really making a mistake. And so this is like, man, so many things could make people feel better if they just knew. But anyways, so when I laid down, I thought, I'll stretch out here for a minute and watch this show and kind of feel like back when I was a kid and watching Christopher Lee. And then I was like calmed out immediately and like being drugged. Like that has happened to me so many times. And then I was really, really out of it. Oh yeah, and I wanted to say too about the cigarette too, because I've smoked another whole cigarette in this 2 days. And it is also... is weird because when I smoke it, I swear to God, like I have never felt so, and I smoke joints, and I have never felt like this. And I've had to do this a few times, but so I'll sit there and be taking puffs off of it, which is so hard. Oh my God. I will take a puff and this tiny little bit of smoke comes out. So tiny. It's like, God, am I even getting any nicotine? And it hurts my lungs so bad. And so then, so do a couple of them and not too fast, like kind of slow, and do a few of them, and then Stella has needs something, and I've had to try and stand up. I can't even fucking stand up. I'll get really dizzy and I'll be like I'm on drugs. And I'll be like, what in the hell is going on? And the only thing that reminds me of is like my ex, who was a cigar smoker. He would say, like, you'd go up to the cigar room and you do that. And he said, you get really dizzy from that. And so I thought, well, maybe there's something in tobacco, because people surely couldn't feel like this and walk around all the time. Like, this is weird. And then I was like, so maybe though the nicotine is attacking something in my body, and that attack is making me feel dizzy and stuff. So I don't know. And I still feel so sure that something, like that is in the water too, because of these electrical shock things that I keep having in my body. And so then when I was laying there, I think they started with the firework thing at like 6 o'clock, and it sounded like explosions. Like, it was so crazy. And I was so out, but I still had this awareness, because somehow, no matter if I'm asleep, I still... it is like I'm totally aware of everything going on around me all the time, even if I'm asleep, supposedly asleep. I don't know what's happening. But so I could hear it, and I could have conversations about, like, it was weird. And then something made me get up. I don't even know what, and I thought it was got up to do the fire or something. I was so out of it. It felt like I had just woke up from surgery or something. I was so out of it. I could barely walk, and then I was stumbling around, and then I was like, oh, I'm just gonna go get in bed. And I think it was like 6:30 in the evening, and so I went in there and laid down, and it was the same thing where I just keep having this awareness, but still I'm like conked out. And so then there was some more with the fireworks or something. I could have kept being aware that Stella was pacing around. She did so good. She did never bark one time over any of the fireworks. And they were so fucking loud. That was the thing that was blowing my mind. was how fucking loud. And then when I went into bed, those ones had stopped. And then I was like, oh, maybe that's it. And then it was like, no, it's not even midnight yet, girl. And I was like, oh, motherfuck. And so then I went in there and I was just like totally conked out, even though I was like aware of everything going on around me and in the room and all that stuff. And then they started at like, well, I think right before, no, it must have been 12 probably is when they would have started. So it was so much like explosions. I couldn't even believe it. It was so, and oh my God, I couldn't believe it. And I was like, okay, so is the firmament just getting so much lower? I mean, the planes keep getting louder and louder, but that was mental. And then I was like, people around here have got to notice this. Like, seriously, you have got to notice that how much louder shit is. Like, this is fucking mental. And then, like, you can feel it. Like, I don't understand how people just keep going around. Like, nothing is happening. It's so fucking weird. And so it was so extremely loud. And I was like, oh my God, they're going to bust open the fucking firmament. That's it. That's what's about to go down. The fireworks are going to bust open the firmament because it's that low. Or is it the magnetosphere, which I don't even know if I had said about this footage I had seen about Southwest in the airports. And I keep hearing all these horrible things about the flying and the magnetosphere. And, you know, I think Southwest is grounding a whole bunch of their own stuff. Like, I don't even know all the shit going on. But this footage I had seen was all of this unclaimed baggage that was Southwest. And it was like, oh my God, the person just kept walking, and it was stacks and stacks and stacks and stacks going, and they just kept walking and walking through the airport. And there was signs up that said unclaimed baggage, Southwest, the whole. I was like, what the? I wouldn't fly on Southwest. I think they're leaving in portals. I don't know what the hell is going on, but that is way too much unclaimed baggage. Like, that's some creepy shit. And I sent it to my daughter. I still don't know how she's sending her up here. If she's going to, I would say send her on the bus. Say grounded. Like, stay out of the air. And I think that there keeps being some sort of crashes and stuff. And I don't know if you have to go and really do research if they're not showing it on the news or something. But I keep seeing about, like, don't go and fly. There's something with the magnetosphere or something. But I you know, it's weird because like the magnetosphere to me would be the containment. It would be the firmament. It would, because it's not like a glass shield. It is a vibration that holds it. And so the magnet, you know, the magnetism, and you know, there's a lot of this stuff that Trump had talked about, like talking about magnetism. There's a thing about Kofifi or whatever that whole thing was that people made a whole thing about, like, and there was more stuff. You know, what he was dropping, he was dropping so much information, but you had to look deeper. You had to be a deeper person. You couldn't be shallow. You couldn't be jumping on the Cheeto Man train, you know, if you wanted to see what he was showing. And, you know, but they distracted so many people by keeping them from seeing. But, you know, I don't know, you know, man, there's just so much. There's so much stuff. And, you know, it's very curious. Like, I'm very curious when things go the other way, like, you know, to see, you know, who is standing on which side, you know what I'm saying? Because, to me, like, I know the stuff I know the stuff I'm saying is right. I know, like, I know I'm getting it from these, I don't know what you want to call them. To me, it's just the universal consciousness. It's the guide that is who you listen to. It's where you vibrate and who you listen to and how introspective you are, because that's where you have to learn to have discernment in the communication. And, so many people just don't even recognize there is communication. Like, there's just so much stuff for people to start learning and developing. And then, even as people are awakening, the people who are being promoted as spiritual guide people are misleading them. They're leading them down this, superficial path, because the truth is that it isn't, the supernatural and is magic, and there's a way it works, and it isn't chasing this artificial, superficial, all of that world. And the super spirit people who are guiding people right now through their awakening, they are they're leading them in the same dark. It's just like going from one dark room to the next. It isn't leaving, because it is about reprioritizing what is important. Some guy in my comments was like, yeah, but, you can't leave the thing and be able to pay your house payment and your taxes and stuff. And so, everybody's going to have a line. Right now, mine is coming easy, I have my house and my Social Security. My Social Security pays my house, so I have shelter, and, and then thinking outside the box and thinking about how I can turn this into a business, and then thinking about more, and then how this keeps rolling, and thinking like, man, you got to be, a lot more ready for, you may have to, I don't know. I don't know how it's all going to play out for sure. But, there may be a period of time where we're going to have to, take care of ourselves. Like, I don't know. Hopefully it's going to be real quick, where they're going to start giving away the land and giving money to help people build, their homes and stuff like that. It's not going to be just, a superficial way of doing things. Like, where it's just like, oh, we're just going to put $1 million in your account, so, have fun spending it. It's not going to be like that. It's going to be about, because there still is a sense of a need for guidance throughout this process for so many people, as they still try and awaken up to hear their own souls and, figure out their own path, so then they can free fall through life and, enjoy the ride, rather than feel like they have to control it and they're doing something wrong. It's all just been the misguidance of this place where they've done that. And then, man, I still am having like a bunch of things coming in my head at once. So anyways, the people who have been waking up and then following these people who are so, like, it's a success to take money from people and then to go and, show it off because you are above them, because they need, I don't know, the whole thing, it just is like, there's a toxicity to it, but it is a part of what has to be purged out. That's why, it's coming to the surface, why it's so clear. It's not just me noticing this stuff. I keep seeing other people noticing it and talking about it. And there is such a, there's a darkness to this spirituality that they are pushing on people as people awaken. But that is another aspect of showing people you have to go inside. You don't go outside of you for your messaging. You can go outside of you for connection and resonance and seeing like, oh, you know, like uh, building a community of like-minded people. But there always has to be, you know, your own definition of self. And you have to be comfortable enough in that, that even to disappoint people who you feel a connection, like, you know, it could be friends, it could be family, it could be siblings, you know, anybody who you feel like you want to make them happy or something. So then you change something about you. And that kind of stuff is, you have to be comfortable enough and like yourself enough that you can remain you, even if somebody is disappointed in you, and not let it affect them, because it's something they need to work on. And you being comfortable in yourself gives them that opportunity to work on it. So, you know, it's like a win-win. You know, the more comfortable that people become in their own skin, and the more comfortable they become in their own independence of who they are, not needing to, you know, have, you know, all this approval from everybody. And there's so much stuff too blowing up on the dating scene stuff, like with this man and woman thing. And, you know, the stuff that I hear men come in and see or say, I like their stuff that they're saying. Like, I think there's probably, you know, a huge, 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 huge group of women that are very offended by the stuff they're saying. And I legit get where the women are coming from. You know, I was one of those women back at some point in my life as well. But now I completely see. And there's some things, like, I've just naturally been somebody who didn't wear makeup. Like, there was a lot of time where I didn't wear any makeup through most of my life. You know, I've always been more like minimal about the makeup. Anytime I've ever put a lot of makeup on, I've always felt like I look like a cross-dresser or something. Like, I feel like I look weird. And so I don't feel comfortable at all. And so I have always been somebody who doesn't wear very much makeup. And, but I have, you know, colored my hair, not the extreme, like what's going on nowadays, like the extreme hair things. I've been more of like, put some streaks in my hair kind of thing. But, you know, not to say, you know, something's wrong with the other people, but with the guys, when they're saying how fake, you know, everything about the girls is so fake, and their makeup and their hair and the filters. And then I've seen several guys saying stuff, and this one guy was saying, you know, even if you know, we come in and say, hey, you know, I'm really interested or something, all you're doing it for is attention. You have no interest in me. You want me to come and give you attention, but you have no interest in me. And like, yeah, it's a really good point, because so many girls, they are like that. They just need attention. They need something. They're going outside of themselves looking for something. They have found that a certain thing can get them attention. And so many, you know, you get very attached to their the outside of themselves. And then, but then, see, it leads to pain and suffering, because then they start comparing themselves, and then they're running down and getting surgeries to change themselves. Like, I can't even believe how many people are so affected by this Kardashian thing. Like, I mean, there's people who really, really like them. Even some of the people where I'll see them talking about this whole disappointment about what's going on, and they look, you can tell, like, they go in and get stuff to look like them. So, you know, there's so much about, man, my hair is driving me crazy. There's so much about them, how the people are being affected, but how much that that they try and transform themselves to be or look like somebody else because they don't like themselves. They try and get all this attention so, that they can feel good about themselves. Even the whole thing with the followers and stuff, and even some of the stupid stuff that people will do to get followers, or to just like market themselves as progressive, but then sit around in their underwear for attention. It's like, a progressive woman would be an independent woman, I would think. It would be someone who would be strong and can take care of herself, that is not going to just go giving it away to anybody, any spectator, any voyeur who wants a peek to just hear, is somebody who has like some pride in themselves, that has some value in themselves. And you see what is broken in our society so much. And the women masking themselves, trying to put on like this pretty face, when it's what's inside is what's broken. Is you got to work on what's inside, and not try and mask what, but put on something so you look good, but then you're broken. And there's so many people, it's like they want to go out and date, but they wouldn't date themselves. They wouldn't go out with themselves, but they want, somebody who is got it all going on, because then they think, well, if they've got it all going on, then it will rub off on me. Just like in that movie that I was watching about that musician, what that girl said to him. And she was like super beautiful, like every guy wanted to go out with her. And then, she got with the musician because he was like super famous musician. And then she said, I thought that your light would rub off on me, but the light just got brighter around you and darker around me. And because it comes from inside, and you can't get that off of somebody else. You have to find it inside of yourself. And so it's like you spark your own light on. And then the more you work on yourself, the brighter your light becomes. It's you working on you. And that has to do with the whole thing with spiritual. And that is like, I don't know what these personal guru trainers are even telling people, like their personal coach. What are you telling people? To personally, like, I have seen people pay a lot of money. I've seen people on there. Somebody was telling people, please don't go and take these Akashic record classes. Don't waste your money on this stuff. It's like, what in the hell? Like, but that is, still with the toxicity of this world being purged out. Like, we couldn't block that purging. If you get what I'm saying, like the spiritual people who aren't being heard yet, that are trying to talk the truth, who didn't just all of a sudden awaken their spirituality, last year, actually have been doing this like our whole lives, had awareness of spirit. And so, I don't know, some of them, they may not have had it their whole lives, but I know some of us have. And, there's groups of us that, have known all of these different things. Like, to me, when all of this goes, like, but there is such huge lessons. And I think that also has a part of like why, the people have to learn those lessons, so that they don't just start, following to that degree. They have to go to themselves. You have to have people like me out there telling people, you got to go in yourself. You got to go to yourself, and you can't follow somebody else's path. It is cheating. You can't cheat in life. You want to grow and learn, then you have to follow your own path. And people have to learn that there is a great purpose to life. All these people going around thinking that there's no purpose. Like, I saw a lot of videos where people saying, don't go drink. And it was like, man, all these people just going out and drinking and partying and living it up. And they're they keep going down towards this, they're going down the plank. And that is like what that one guy was kind of saying, like, y'all are all going in the wrong direction. You got to redeem yourself. Like, and he was like, the Holy Spirit, like, he was saying all sorts of stuff. I love hearing those guys talk like that, because there's a lot of people who don't get it. Like, I really get even bothered by this whole, things just get turned into catchphrases. Love and light, love and light. And what is the one that this morning one that people do all the time? Not great salutations, great, I don't know. It just is like too catchphrasy. Yeah, everybody just wants like the gear. Everybody just wants to say the right words. It's like it has nothing to do with any of that. It has to do with the work. And what is your spirit's work? You know, what is your spirit's connection? What is your spirit's purpose? You know, and that is where you have to get into. It is, and it's going into this level of life that is from a completely new perspective. Because in the 3D perspective of life, you're out trying to please, but you know, we have the whole thing on top of it, of the manipulation. But, you know, in the 3D, it is so much of looking outside of you for reflection back of trying to figure out who and what you are. And then it is leveling up to go into this other perspectives of, like I said, where it's like you become an observer of situations. You become a watcher in life. You become, like, you still participate. Like, you know, I still participate, like, even when situations happen, like the windshield breaking, it is like pulls you in to experience, to have that connection, to rotate through others' lives. And so, you know, you have these things, the natural occurrences that are all, it's part of the program, it's part of the play, it's part of the set destination. And you know, there's a whole aspect to being in tune to the things that happen so that you can understand, like, it's not just to frustrate you, it's for you to accomplish, for you to see, for you to go into the world in a certain place, in a certain way. And, you know, to be aware of who you're putting out into the world when you go and circulate through, and your energy. You know, when I'm going into town, a lot of times I try and put on the music loud and start singing and dancing in the car so that I can take in some sort of, you know, big energy, big happy energy. You know, I swear to God, I just washed my hair and I feel like, I don't know, my eyes are so bad, but I feel like it looks super, super oily. Like every time, that it's got to be shit in the water. It's so aggravating. Oh yeah, and I keep getting this growth right here by my eye, and right now I can feel it. It hasn't gone all the way down, and so it has come a few times, and so I got some aloe vera, and I've done it twice this week and rubbed it on it, and it started burning so bad. I couldn't believe it every single time I've done it. And that's aloe vera. And it is the same thing to me as like the nicotine. I'm like, what is it going in there and attacking? It's like a freaking, it feels like there's a war going on inside there. And that's what I feel like with the nicotine. Is like, I feel like this total war or something is happening inside my body. And right here with that too, then it feels like, I don't know, like it's burning some sort of like cancer or something. I don't know. You know, all of these things, like I had seen this person talking about the parasites, and that's what creates the tumors. And you know, so any of the stuff, you know, anything that's inside of us trying to get out of us, or anything that's on the outside of us trying to get in us, because you know, you got both things going on, it seems like. I don't know, maybe you don't have very much trying to get outside of you unless you're doing some cleanses, and then you know, I guess you would have stuff trying to get out of you, because it seems like a lot of the stuff is very happy inside of us. Like, man, it seems like people are infested. It is and I don't know if it has to do, I'm sure it has to do with area and your lifestyle, you know, how you eat, and you know, what you consume. So, you know, eating out, I think you'd have even more. To me, the more and more, what I try and do is just go cook more and more from scratch. But it's like, you know, I'm not making my own butter and sour cream, but still. Ooh, but I made this really good dip the other day at the food bank. They gave me, you know, those little packets of like single things of guacamole, and it was like a 4-pack of them. And I also got an avocado that is still hard as a rock, and I've had it in a sack for days. It's not even getting softer. I'm like, man, is this wood? Is this even real? And then but that avocado stuff, and then I had this really, really good salsa, and I had some sour cream, and I mixed those three, and then I boiled some potatoes for a few minutes, and then cut them up and fry them in a whole bunch of olive oil and make them like French fries, and then stir that stuff up, that dip, the sour cream and guacamole and salsa, and then dipped them. Oh my, I think I'm gonna do it again today, but except I think I do have some of the dip stuff left. Yeah, I'm gonna do it again today. It's so good. Oh my gosh, it's so good. And let me think of what else I was gonna say. How long have I even been talking? An hour. It seemed like there was a couple other things that I was gonna say, you know, but the girls who also have the problems with the dating stuff, you know, their problems are legit, but they don't see, like, if you are, people are just, they're vibing too low, like they're trying to date up out of their vibration, and you're going to draw in the people you're going to be dating. So if you've got a lot to deal with, if you've got a lot to heal, the people you're dealing with is going to be the same. They're going to have a lot to deal with, a lot to heal. And that is what I keep, you know, hopefully, you know, at some point when my teachings get heard, that people are going to understand. You don't need to go out and date like that. You got to change how that whole thing works. It is so much more about you developing yourself. And as you develop yourself and you raise your vibration by learning about yourself. And that's one thing that these guys were even saying is, like, you know, these girls, they don't even know themselves, and they want us to understand them, and they don't even understand themselves. And that is a part of, you know, the problem. You can't go out and make relationships with people when you don't have any structure to yourself. And that is why so many relationships become so toxic and narcissistic and codependent, because of the lack of self-definition of one's own, you know, being. And so the transformation is going to be about the people needing to date themselves, you know, get to know yourself, develop yourself. Then the vibration that you'll be putting out will be rising, and then you will naturally draw in other people at your vibration that are your match. And then those people will come in, you know, in all different ways. You know, it could be anything. It's not like you have to go out and search for them. You don't have to go out and date them. Like, you know, I mean, for me, even if I haven't met this person, the universe has introduced me over. I mean, the my my energy has been coming into contact or whatever with the this person for a long time now, but there's still been so much of my own self-development, though, and I would only assume the same with them. But whatever your vibration thing is, will bring those people naturally to you, like, and you, like, because you will start seeing like it's weird, like sometimes, like, you didn't even realize you had somebody who matched you so much. It was just, it's trippy. But when the people, so if, as you're doing your work and you're raising your vibration, you don't need to even be thinking about, like, who am I going to go date? And, do I go here? Am I going to go there? And where am I going to, you have to just allow things to play. And so I just see so many of these people on there trying to force, and all these dating apps that make money off of this. And it's so fucking toxic. And it's so unnecessary. It's so much a part of this artificial and the creation of so much frustration in people's lives. When as you do your healing and your development of self, you will naturally pull in somebody who is a match. You won't have to do all of that, other kind of games and stuff from back in the past, how it used to be. It is going to be so much more of a healthier way of an interaction, because you yourself has developed. It isn't, it's the people. It's like you raise the bar by you raising yourself. You don't just raise it like, oh, like these women, oh, well, he's got to tick the boxes, and, like, I'm going to raise the bar. I'm not going to date this, or this, but I'm toxic as fuck, but I'm not going to date anybody toxic. You can't raise the bar without you raising yourself. You have to become who you want to be, who you want to date. You have to become that. You have to become, and it isn't like becoming somebody else. It is you becoming your best self. So if you want to date somebody who is their best self, you need to be dating somebody. You need to be your best self. And, that is something that, seems to be over, or people just aren't there yet or something. Like, they don't get that part of it. And they think, like, that they just need to raise the bar over who they're dating. And, he needs to tick whatever boxes, and he better be this way and he better be that way. And I'm changing my standards, 2023, and all this stuff. And it's like, but you don't even need to be going out there and dating like that. You can just be, enjoying your life and fulfilling yourself and allowing the universe to do its work. And then you cross paths with this person at some point or whatever. And then, then you don't have to go out and search like with these people, and how much money people spend on dating and dating apps. And look at how much money is circulated on the consumption and consumerism of dating. You can see like how they take all these things, dieting, all these things, they turn them into something that is, just bad and toxic. Like the whole thing, I guess now they're doing something, again, messing with people with their body, stuff. They get them all to be overweight and be confident and happy, and then all of a sudden tell them, nope, that's wrong now. They just keep people so unsettled, and it's just so toxic. all of these different things. And, you know, people have to see, you know, it all comes. And this was one thing I had just seen. And it was this trans person. And I never know what, they always say they're trans, but I never know what they are. Like if they were a girl that went to a guy or a guy that went to a girl, I can never tell. They are still kind of androgynous to me. And so they were doing a video and they were saying that I think they were a girl that went to a guy. And so he was saying that just has become comfortable in his body, and he was telling this whole thing about, you know, not ever being comfortable in their body, finally getting comfortable in their body, learning to love themselves and stuff like that. That's the part of their video that I liked, is when they were saying about learning to love themselves. And because that's what it all is, I kind of felt like, are they trying to tell everybody just become trans, like, so that you can learn to love yourself, to honor other parts of yourself? Is, to me, it is, you know, you don't need to change your body. You need to learn to love yourself from the very beginning. You know, you need to love and, you know, to acknowledge the experience that you're there. You're born into that experience. You're born into that perspective so that you can learn that perspective. That person's journey, though, could be learned, you know, their thing. Like, we cannot even, you know, at all come up with or judge anybody's experience, because it's their experience, it's their lessons, it's their life, it's their whole soul journey, their whole soul path. So anybody doing anything isn't doing the wrong thing. They're learning, even if you don't understand their lessons or understand what they're learning from it. It's their soul path. Even if they're unaware that they have a soul, like, that's their loss, you know. That's why I think, you know, that some of us are trying to help people understand that part, because it does change, like, how you play the game. And so anyways, I was just like, you know, I think that it is important for us to just really, you know, get people to understand the importance of learning to love themselves. And I've seen so many things of horrible, horrible things of stuff going on with kids right now. Like, man, like, this woman kicked her 10-year-old out the other day in a snowstorm with no coat. He ended up at a neighbor's, and she comes a few days later to check on him. It's like, the lady's already called CPS, check. Oh my God. Like, it is mental. Like, man. And, you know, we've got to take it more seriously. Like, these people are our future. We are creating the future. You're not just giving birth to, you know, like, people got to take stuff more seriously. They got to take themselves more seriously, the love for themselves. This, you know, giving birth, like, there's going to be so much, I believe, that's going to transform in people. That, you know, as you grow and expand and your priorities change, it's going to, you know, it's going to significantly impact those things. But I think that those are the kinds of things that people like me that see it so clearly, where we see it so clearly, so that we can help others see our vision. And I do think that there is something, you know, I don't know. I think there's something in the messenger, you know, I believe, that is going to, especially when I see the phoniness of the messengers at this point, which I'm not saying not all of them are I mean, they could be spiritual and caught up in the 3D, you know, that could be they're just caught up. And but they could, you know, I don't know how you could be super spiritual, though, and not be listening to your spirit. So, but, you know, it's not for me to judge any of the things, but some of those people can turn around and be, you know, really big leaders in their spiritual communities. Like, I don't know. I just know that a lot of them are not I mean, you got to think. A spirit, you don't need anything. Like, when they're telling you, like, work on trying to get a big old giant mansion, I was like, you don't need a mansion. You need to, you have a hut and be happy. You don't even need a hut. You have, like, it's just a different way. And if people don't understand, then they're chasing something. They're chasing that $1 million mansion or whatever, the three-dimensional thing that they think is going to give them something back. And, that's what you find. It doesn't. Like, there's so much more to the spiritual thing. Like, so anyways, I just go on and on about that stuff. So, I don't even know if I even, yeah, I did finish that thing. Because then I got up after all of the fireworks. My body was just hurting too bad with the electrical shocks. And then with this horrible headache. I don't know, is it like some sort of hangover headache for whatever they're drugging us with? It is weird and how out of it I feel. And so I'm probably just going to go and sleep sometime today or something. But smoking the rest of that cigarette and then having that feel so weird, like, oh man, I don't even know. I just hope, like, I keep seeing all these things. Like, I'm just super hopeful. I'm just super hopeful that things are about to just really start going in other directions. So I'm just gonna stay positive. I'll talk to you later. Bye.